motion.
Yes, sir.
Episode 5. Welcome back to Rap and Reason Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dr. Jeremy C. McCool.
And I'm Earl Hopkins.
And we back at it, man. What's going on?
Same old, bro. Like, so over the weekend, I covered for Billboard, I covered Lollapalooza. So that was crazy.
Nice.
That's the biggest music festival I've probably ever been to. Like, it was swarm of people, like, at Grant Park in Chicago, bro. Like, it was just good being in summertime shy, but more than anything, it was dope seeing like artists like Chappelle Rowan, Megan Thee Stallion again. I've already seen her perform, but it was good seeing her in that type of platform. So yeah, life is good, bro.
Yo, congrats, man, on your first Billboard.
Thank you.
Working with Billboard, man, that's big. I know that's a big career altering move for you as a journalist. So,
bro,
man,
I've been
congrats.
trying to get on with Billboard for like 3-4 years. I was looking at old emails and I was like, bro, after all this time, that's why I always tell people that want to get into freelance. It's like, this is going to be a grind. It's going to take time. But I promise you, if you like keep foot on pedal, you'll be good to go. So,
Yes,
yeah.
sir, man. Congrats. And you also were there for NABJ. So, you missed the chaos, huh?
I missed the chaos. So for those that don't know, Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, actually stopped by the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Chicago. It was about a week ago almost at this point. And he was on the first day. As you would imagine, it was complete chaos, bro. Like, that joint was wild. And I didn't even want to go. I wanted to avoid it altogether. And plus, I had to, like, get into my hotel. So, divine timing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But, yeah, just like the rumblings, like, that day kind of, like, that conversation trickled throughout the whole week. Like, I was there in Chicago for the convention. So
Yeah, they had Chicago a different level of packed in because now you have NABJ, which is already a big conference.
Mm-hmm.
You have Lollapalooza, which is a crazy festival. For me, I went several times as a kid, so I know, like, Lollapalooza is already hectic.
Right.
And then you add on the president being there, with the former president, so he still got Secret Service, and they still had to do all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's a lot going on.
It was a lot, bro. And Lollapalooza was directly across from the hotel that all of this was going down. The Trump appearance, the convention. So, like, I had my friends I think I told you this, like, my friends were waking up by, like, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., EDM sound checks, bro. Like, imagine that just from across, like, you know, the street and everything. But
that's crazy.
It was a crazy week, bro. Like, but I'm adjusting, man. How you been, bro?
Man, I've been blessed, man. Today I got to read and talk about my children's books with some kids. For those who don't know, I also have a children's book series. So I've been so involved with hip hop media and speaking and lectures on hip hop that I forget that I have a children's book series sometimes. So when I get to like tap back into the people who support my children's books, it's always a cool time. So I got to read to two little bright young girls and talk to them about the process of me writing a book and me as an author. So it was a really cool experience. So shout out to Chester County Art Center in town. Great time.
Dope, bro. And for, like, where can they get your 2 books? So you have 2 children.
Oh, I get some free pub on Rap and Reason?
Bro.
Oh, that's what's up. Yeah. Nah, the Amazon or McCoolWorld.com. But it's the first one is Princess and the Power of Melanin. The second one is The Adventures of Darius the Hall Monitor. So they're both under the McCool McBride Books imprint, co-authored by Dr. Anthony McBride. So definitely check them out, man.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, got some free promo on the pod.
Yeah, bro. If we gonna have any platform to do it, this is the platform to do. We boost up our co-hosts and anybody we affiliate with. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we're here for.
Yeah, man. So it's been a major week for both of us, man. So look, it's cool that now you all who are listeners on the pod, listeners or watchers, will get a chance to kind of you'll be able to follow our journey. And we've got back into the swing of writing this book that we're writing together.
This book is coming along. It's slow, but it's steady progress.
True.
You know what I mean? The summer's been crazy for both of us.
If our publisher's listening, we've been writing it fast.
Oh, yeah. If you're listening, we're diligent.
Shout out to Roman and Littlefield.
Roman and Littlefield and Bloomsbury Publishing, man. Shout out to y'all for giving two hip-hop fans a chance. You know
Absolutely,
what I mean?
man. It's been a dope experience thus far, so we'll keep you all posted on the journey of us writing this book on socially conscious hip-hop. And speaking of hip-hop, man, we had a lot of dope topics to get into today. Earl, what we starting off with, man?
I think we should start off with, we can even start off with what? The ASAP Rocky track?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yo, So recently, for you all who do not know, A$AP Rocky dropped a track called "Hijacked." Um, what are your overall thoughts about A$AP Mob and A$AP Rocky?
So I would say my overall thoughts on A$AP, it's changed like a lot because I was in high school freshman year listening to Peso, and I was hooked on his debut mixtape. So I was a huge A$AP Rocky fan. I said it from the time I was 14 that he would be a star. I didn't know that he would delve into like acting, fashion, all these other things. And I think that's why my view of him has changed so much. It's like, yo, like I was a fan of you musically. I saw ways that you could progress. But he took up other things, so he kind of like shifted his focus a bit. And so musically, when I'm forgetting what his 2020 album was called, but it was like Testing. That's what it was called. I was kind of burnt out on the idea of him being one of like the upper echelon rappers, like not among the cream of the crop, but like someone with a lot of relevance. So hearing Hijack was like really refreshing, bro.
Honestly, same here. So I first discovered A$AP Rocky's music with Pesos too. Yeah. I think Pesos, I remember seeing the music video and the visuals for it too and being like, no, this is dope. Like I like that he was kind of mixing East Coast Harlem sound with the accent, but also like mixing in the Houston's chopped and screwed sound. And I thought he was able to put the two together to make something that sounded really cool sonically. So I definitely always liked his music early on. And I like you said, I kind of fell off from it at a certain point, and he's kind of stopped putting out music frequently, and I just kind of stopped following it. But hearing this sounded like that old A$AP, that old Pesos type of feel to it, where it was really cool. And I thought I like that fact that usually sometimes it gets annoying when rappers use the same rhyme scheme throughout the whole song, but this one it didn't. For some reason, this one it was like it was cool. I like the production on it. Yeah. I like the bars on it. He had some really catchy lines. I know a lot of people thought that he was sending shots at Drake and all these different people. I thought it was very generic bars.
Yeah, I thought it was.
If it was a subliminal diss, it definitely was. It definitely wasn't direct. So yeah, but I liked it, man. I thought it was cool.
And he has been direct in the past with Drake. Like I've seen him on the festival stage. I think it was Coachella. He's dissed Drake. Like some more direct, some more subliminal than others. But I think, it was refreshing, again, to just see him back in his element with that sound, with that production. You know what I mean? And for him to just go crazy, like just boss up kind of on this record.
What do you think? Do you think that his emphasis and focus on fashion specifically and being a model and all of this, do you think that negatively impacted his rap career?
I would say so because, he was at a point, I'm all for expansion, when it comes to artists. Like, Jay-Z had S. Carter's before he branched off and had Champagne and had all these other things, like 40/40 Club and everything. So I'm all for expansion. I know what comes with marketing when it comes to certain artists, you know what I mean? And it's clearly something he's passionate about from the onset. Like, we saw him rocking Ralph Simmons, the moment we saw him in a Peso video or, you know what I mean, or some of his earlier work. So, but I feel like as a musical artist who was really still establishing his ground in the genre, I feel like he branched off pretty early, and I think it detracted some of his day one fans, especially when he became more inactive musically.
I have to agree. I think that the reason why I think is because I think it's a little different between the businesses, if he had a Champagne or was in a different world. I think modeling is just different because it's hard. It's hard for somebody to be like, okay, you're modeling these runways in Paris and you're doing all of this and you're a rapper. I think it just kind of messed up the branding for some people. So I think people who knew him as a rapper kind of were like, okay, are you still rapping or what are you doing? Right. So I think we aren't really used to seeing high fashion from artists that early. Pharrell was always a producer, so when he started getting involved with fashion, it was a little different because he was already kind of behind the scenes. I think that it definitely just. I think he stopped focusing on the music as much, which I think took him out of those conversations between people who were really in his class, like the Wale's and the Big Sean's, because he came out a little bit after them, but it wasn't that much. It wasn't that much longer after them.
And we've seen artists obviously dive into high fashion. Like we saw Kanye West at one point. He actually intern, I believe, for Louis Vuitton.
Absolutely.
One of the high fashion houses in Europe.
Yep.
But by then, he had already
He was
established
already,
his name. He was out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And so for A$AP Rocky, I think with the modeling, with the acting, while it benefited him maybe as, you know, a brand,
Right.
like as a music fan, as a fan of his music myself, like I was kind of just like, where's the music? Like all of this is great, but I found you. The world recognized you from the music you produced for
music.
Live Love A$AP and Long Live A$AP. Every other project that really hit. And so it was kind of like, dang, where my boy at? Like that's kind of how I felt.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would agree. As somebody who loosely followed his career early on, I would say that it was definitely a moment where it was like, man, where A$AP been? And you would only see him for fashion stuff, and you wouldn't necessarily see him for like hit songs. So it was cool to hear him on this track. I definitely recommend it if you haven't listened to A$AP Rocky's new track, Hijacked. I think this is a cool record. I think that it's one that it goes in the car. That's the first time I listened to it was in the whip, and it sounds good. It's
a bop. And I think, like, if this is, like, any sign of what his project will be, I'm assuming he's dropping a project.
I would assume so.
Because he had a few Lucy's singles last year, and that joint just didn't go. I know, like, one was kind of like a loose dedication to Rihanna, and it was just kind of corny. Like, it just didn't hit. Like, because I feel like, because he has that flow where it's, like, it's kind of repetitive. It's kind of, he even showed it on his song, and he's always had that flow, and that's one element, like I alluded to this earlier, that's one element I thought he could grow from. It's like expanding his flow a bit.
Right.
He even did some production work, which was nice to see, because I love producer rappers.
Same.
But yeah, like this song, it has a kick to it. Like it has like a certain magic about it that, you know, we felt, you know, we really rocked with earlier in his career. So hopefully this is a sign of what the project will look like. And to those disrespecting him, saying he's Rihanna's baby daddy, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, that was my next question was going to be, and I can't really use Jay-Z as an example. Can a rapper who is not already at superstar level, can they date a mega star like that without it kind of like not dimming their light, but kind of taking attention away from their career? Or do you think that they could do it? Like if J. Cole was like all of a sudden, well, not J. Cole. J. Cole's too big for me to use him as an example. I'm trying to think of somebody. Denzel Curry, your boy. Yeah. And I actually went and listened to this project. Really liked it.
Dope project.
Really dope. Really dope.
Mischievous South Volume 2. Check it out if you
You put me on, man. I went and listened to it because I heard how much you were bigging it up on the pod. I was like, let me go ahead and check this out. No, it's hard. But like for instance, like if he started dating Jennifer Lopez, like do you think that's gonna take away? Now he's gonna be known as Jennifer Lopez, his boyfriend, even though he's already been established as a prominent rapper, but it's the fact that this is Jennifer Lopez. You see what I'm saying?
I could see it. I think it depends on how it goes, like how the relationship goes. Like in certain ways, like I don't know. That's actually a good question, because my first thought is yes. Like it could, depending on how this situation goes, it could ruin you. You could crash and burn off of a relationship. It could even mess you up, like as a marketing kind of gem or brand.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, while I wouldn't compare this directly, just because Kanye, for example, was already a megastar in his own right. When he got married to Kim Kardashian, was a part of the Kardashian group and affiliation, I feel like as a rap fan, that could have hurt him. I don't know if it did, but like long term, I think it did. You think it short circuited like certain things?
I think it just changed the way that people view Kanye. I don't necessarily think it impacted, like, I mean he's still Kanye West, but
right.
I definitely think it altered the way that people look at him. I think being married to a figure like Kim Kardashian definitely impacted his brand. Now, it also might have made him more well-renowned to a group that wasn't paying him that much attention. But at the same time, he was already Kanye West at the time.
Yeah.
So it's hard to gauge. But I definitely think it changed the way people viewed him.
And I certainly don't think it helped. I don't think it helped him. Like, maybe one could argue at that point in time he wanted to dive into high fashion. And so with Kim Kardashian, she had, like, a hand in high fashion. Like, she was, an ambassador for certain brands or was affiliated with many of them, and that's what he wanted to really tap into at the time. And I think by affiliation, he was able to do that a little easier. But ultimately, like,
so you see, I know nothing about the Kardashians.
I think you good. I think it's safe to say you good without that. But I think, like, as an artist, as a musician, I think he made some of his worst music.
Yeah,
with that affiliation.
I agree.
Yeah, honestly.
During that time frame, his music was.
And at that time, like, if you look at it, like, because I followed his career, obviously he didn't have as many eyes on him. Like, while social media was prevalent, it didn't exist to the same height. Like, we as fans didn't have that same connection to artists or reach to artists. But it seemed like when he went on the Kardashian side, like, more cameras were on him. He started acting more erratic publicly, especially towards the paparazzi.
Absolutely.
And I think in many ways that affected him in some ways even long term. Now, I'm not one to say, like, he could have had those signs or had those certain, mannerisms, habits, like, before, obviously, he got married to Kim. That's none of my business. It's not for me to speak on, but it just seemed like there was a certain trajectory that happened after that.
Yeah. I have a funny thing that my mom, I'm not gonna do you like that. I want to say look, my mom listens to this pod. I want to say what you always say about the Kardashians, but I'm not going to do it because I'm gonna respect your name. Maybe next episode. Next episode I might. If she don't catch this part, the next episode I'm gonna say it. But yeah, my mom always clowns everybody who dates a Kardashian. Basically says that they've been cursed in a sense. I'm gonna say it in a nicer way than what she says.
Kardashian curse.
Yeah.
That's it's kind of legit, bro.
Yeah, she does. She definitely stands on it. Mm-hmm. I also want to talk then. Now, speaking of A$AP Rocky, we already know A$AP Mob being a supergroup.
Yeah.
What do you think about? It doesn't seem like there are many supergroups anymore of these like groups where there are all of these conglomerates in hip hop where it's all these different artists who are out of one camp. Why do you think that is?
I think, like, we're at a time where I think artists are more selfish. Like, when it comes to that, I just don't see them wanting to kind of cede to a group. Like, and I don't think, like, while there are, like, labels, while there are kind of conglomerates, like, the idea of a rapper kind of bubbling up amongst a group of other rappers, especially when, like, the ability to capitalize on certain things is a little bit more easier with social media. You don't have to really be next to another group of artists to really shine on your own, while it may help in many cases. And I feel like it would for a lot of artists. Like, I think a lot of artists are taking liberties to just, like, become their own brand or their own group in a sense. And I think the idea of entrepreneurship has bubbled up more in hip-hop too. So people are not only kind of standing out on their own, but they're like, yo, if I'm going to have a troupe, it's going to be under me. Like, it's going to be under my imprint or my brand. And in reality, if other groups, like, hip-hop is like if I see that successful, I want to copy it. And I feel like because other big-name groups, super groups, if you will, like Future, A$AP Mob, and, like, a few others have kind of tapered off as far as, like, group, entities. I feel like other rappers are like, well, why copy that model when I can copy this one instead?
And I have to agree. I think that there is a component of selfishness that comes in where it's like, I want to be the star. Right. And if I come in with a conglomerate, I'm now competing to be the star out of that group, because you don't have too many groups where everybody has blossoming careers. Like, there aren't too many Wu-Tang clans where there's this many different acts that come out of a conglomerate that have successful solo careers. Yeah. There aren't many examples like a Wu-Tang clan. Like, most of the time there's one, maybe two big acts that come out of a camp. So I would have to agree. Some people are probably looking at that like, well, I might as well just do my own thing from the start, right, instead of coming out. I mean, we have some. There are still, like, Griselda being one in hip hop that's still prominent. I guess. I mean, there aren't really many. I guess you'd say Dreamville, which is more of a label, but still kind of
kind of a troupe.
Still a troupe, a conglomerate. TDE being another one.
For sure, like Black Hippie. But, like, again, like, I don't hear, like, until the pop-up with Kendrick Lamar, like, when he really got settled into, like, his set on that front, like, I haven't heard the group Black Hippie. I haven't heard that name in almost a decade.
I was going to say probably a decade.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. I think they definitely swayed away from that because of the fact that they wanted to focus more on their solo careers and their brands as individual artists. So I definitely think that there's value in that. I do miss it though. I mean, me personally, some of my favorite ones were like Dipset.
For sure, Dipset was a
Dipset being a dope hip hop conglomerate. Like we said, Black Hippie being another one that I really liked. That I think has a lot of standouts, because I think people who like Ab-Soul like Ab-Soul, people who like Schoolboy Q like Schoolboy Q. So I think they all still were able to build significant fan bases individually as well. Who are some that you like? What are some like rap supergroups that stood out to you?
Like when I was growing up, I really liked the progressive era, pro era with Joey Badass at the forefront.
Okay.
I love their whole movement, bro, especially coming out of New York, Brooklyn specifically. Like I just love what type of sound they were coming out with. It was like a renaissance of that 90s boom bap Beast Coast type of like sound. And me as like at 14, like I was really hooked to that, because that's when I had been a hip hop fan for a while by that point, obviously. But like that was the first time I really dove back into like earlier acts, you know what I mean? And so it was refreshing to see that the revival of that sound.
They were reminiscent of that.
For sure. And another group was Flatbush Zombies. Like I love Flatbush Zombies. But
I like Flatbush. One of my cousins really put me on Flatbush Zombies, and I remember hearing they had a song called Bath Salts.
Yeah.
That I heard that was hard, and I remember listening to that album, but then I didn't really follow their career much after that. Did they continue putting out some?
So they're still a group. So I actually interviewed their main producer, one of their main producers, Eric the Architect, earlier this year.
Nice.
And so the group still exists. Like he made that clear. They just, he's decided to go, make his solo venture. Like, a full thing. So. But yeah, like groups like that, bro, like I miss them dearly. Like, and I was a big ASAP Mob fan. I was a huge ASAP Mob fan. Like, me and my boy used to call ourselves ASAP Mob in high school. Tyler, if you're watching this, you know what I mean. This was a nasty era too. In high school, people wore Hollister jeans.
Nasty.
Those monochrome like Hollister shirts with like the Hollister HCO. Or
whatever. As much as I want to roast, I can't, because I had a Hollister shirt.
Listen,
a baggy one too.
Listen, Elite socks, Nike Elite socks with Nike slides. Some were Adidas. Okay, kind of tacky, but whatever. If you want to mix match brands, sports apparel brands. But yeah, bro, that was an era, and we used to call ourselves ASAP Mob. We used to kick it in my high school courtyard, bro.
That's hilarious. I do remember an era of high school where everybody started calling themselves different rap conglomerates. Bro. I definitely remember where that was a thing.
Yeah.
We're
gonna miss that era, bro. We're gonna miss it.
Yeah, these new kids aren't gonna have that, because there aren't any groups.
Not really, not traditional groups like that.
Yeah, there aren't. And you know what this crazy thing is? I actually think it transcends hip hop, because when you think about it, there aren't any R&B groups anymore either.
Nah. There's not.
Like when you think like even when you go back from when I was like really young, you had like B2K and like you had all of those type of like boy bands, and then you had the Destiny's Child and all of those groups. But you don't really like today. Who are the girl groups or male groups singing wise either?
Yeah, like I don't even remember the name of the group. Like an artist like Normani was in, I think it was called like Fifth Harmony or something.
Fifth Harmony, I think.
Yeah, but other than that, like what the people that are really building groups out, like traditionally, is like K-pop acts.
Yeah, and I think, and what I think is I think they might have realized that like groups are bound to break up. So like, I mean, they've historically been very short-lived.
Yes.
Unless they're siblings or family, and then even then sometimes they break up. So
money gets tossed a certain way. People are like, "Yeah, I'm done with you, cousin."
Yeah,
like,
because the last big one I remember, even like as far as kid acts, like the last one I remember was Mindless Behavior.
I was about to say that Mindless Behavior. Yeah,
they were like the last one I remember, like where it was like a big impact. But since then, there haven't been many. So I think maybe musically people are swaying away from groups altogether.
I think so. And if you can get on your own, why would you be in a group? If I can get on social media, get on IG Live, and promote everything that I want, that I'm doing, or everything that I want to say, why would I have to split profits with 5, 3, 2 other people? Like, why would I do that?
Yeah, and I think social media has also made it where everybody wants to be Beyonce. Don't nobody want to be Michelle.
Nobody want to be Michelle.
No, nobody want to be Michelle. Everybody's like, I should be a star. I think social media has made it where everybody is the star in their own show in a way. Everybody has their own personal brand. Everybody is an individual. So they're like, well, why why won't I just promote myself as that instead of promoting myself and taking a back seat to somebody else?
And I even see regular people. No,
that's what I'm talking about.
Same approach.
Oh,
bro.
I'm talking about people who work at Chipotle.
You know what I'm saying? Why would I be
a superstar on the internet?
Chipotle if I can pack this chicken myself? Why would I do that? It's just but like that's where we're at. Like in the world today. We're all about individualism, and it's just it doesn't benefit you in the long run.
And it doesn't, because sometimes you might, I hate to say it like this, but this is gonna be the truth. There's been a lot of groups where people who were talent wise had an opportunity to become something,
right? Because
they were by the person who was the superstar.
Exactly.
So because you were in the group with the superstar, you were able to still benefit off of that movement and be a part of something bigger than you. But now, if you're trying to go solo as the act, you know, your chances are slim.
Very slim.
Very slim. If you were the person who could just harmonize a little bit and, you know, you were you were able to blend in the back of one of those groups and still make something of yourself. But now you think you're going to make it as a solo artist.
Like, come on.
Yeah, everybody can't be a Beyonce, man. Somebody, I hate to say it because Michelle can sing, so I'm not no shots at Michelle. I'm just saying somebody has to take the back.
100%. Like for every John Lennon, there has to be a Ringo Starr. I'm bringing you back to the Beatles, my man. That's where I'm taking you. You know what I'm saying? This ain't hip hop. It's music.
Music. We going to all of it.
But yeah, and we got to get into this review, man. So, Kanye West, Ty Dolla $ign, Vultures 2.
Came out of nowhere, man.
Out of nowhere, bro. No warning, no promotion. That's kind of what Kanye's been on in recent years, really.
Yes.
Yeah.
This album drop came randomly out the blue. Like I said, I had no idea that he was still dropping the Vultures 2. I honestly had forgot that it was coming.
Yeah.
Now, overall thoughts, like just general, like as a whole. When you first playthrough, what did you think?
So first playthrough. And I'm talking the whole project. There is some standout tracks on here. Like, that's what stuck out in my mind. Like, songs like Field Trip, Promotion, River, I like.
Yes.
I even like Dead, like, especially the back half of it. Like, there's a lot of, and that's what you expect as a supporter of Kanye West's music. And Ty Dolla $ign's music, especially. I'm a big Ty Dolla $ign fan. That's what you expect. So I wasn't surprised by that. What I was surprised by is just how unfinished and kind of messy this album can be at times as well.
And let me jump in with that. I second that. So what I want to say is off first listen, there are some songs that I love.
Yeah.
And I think that was refreshing because there's some amazing production on this album. Mm-hmm. Like you said, Field Trip, but also Fried.
Pride is fire.
Like I remember just those two back to back. I was in my car like, oh, okay, yeah. I see what you're doing here. I'm in. Right. Like the production, the vocals, the mixing, like those two, Field Trip and Fry, into each other, great. Also, I loved River as well. I would also say, man, as much as I love, so this is how I kind of view this project. The production and some of the sonically, there's some of the songs on here that I love.
Right.
But at the same time, it's hard to ignore how Kanye's lyricism is trash now. And it's been on the decline for a while. It does not sound, on some of these songs, it doesn't even sound like he tried. It's just, he's just saying random stuff. And maybe if I went into this album and I didn't know Kanye West, I might not judge it as critically as far as the lyrics because I might be like, okay, this is cool. You know what I mean? It's great production. The lyrics are all right. But because I know the past albums and the past lyricism that Kanye has displayed, it's hard for me to then hear him rap like this.
Right.
So there's some songs on here there. Which one is the one where he just randomly does the worst freestyle in America for like 2 minutes at the end? Which one is that?
For me,
that was
at 5:30, was it?
Yes, that's the one it was. 5:30, like he spends the last, and it was a beautiful song. Like the production was great, and then he decides to spend the last 2 minutes of it doing a horrible freestyle about Drake, and it's just like, bro, what are we doing? Like,
it's lazy. That's really what it is. That's what I took away from it. It's like a lot of these sound like reference tracks, like Facts. Especially towards the end. And with you being one half of this project, right? Like Ty Dolla $ign, I thought harmonically was great.
Yeah, I thought he performed well on this.
He to me is one of the highlights. I love Future's. I think it's his feature on Promotion, if I'm not mistaken. or yeah, something like that. But like I love the Lil Wayne on this project. I love that.
I liked your boy on here, man. I like the Thug verse.
Yeah, Thug. It was,
you know what?
It was good seeing Thug.
It really was, and I think that this reminded me that I miss Young Thug's sound.
Yeah.
And like because I hadn't heard it in a while, I think that when it comes on this song, I'm like, I forget that he does the mumble rap the best.
He does.
Like he does it at a high level, and he sounds so distinctly different than everybody else.
He's the Tom Brady of mumble rapper.
You're on to something. You're on to something there. I like that. I would have to agree, and I think that River reminded me of that, and River specifically was one of the songs that stood out to me amongst a bunch. I thought that it was amazing to me how he was able to go from Young Thug's verse about BBLs and whatnot, and then it ends up going into the sample of "Take Me to the River" towards the end, and kind of low-key turns into a gospel song.
Yeah.
By the end of the song,
Makes no sense.
And that's something that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But just to stay on this album, Lifestyle was cool to me too.
Yeah.
There are definitely some moments. Like there are some songs on this album that I will be going back to.
Yeah.
I've already gone back to Fried a lot. I've already gone back to Field Trip a lot. There are definitely some standout songs. I will say that on social media, and you can tell me if you agree or disagree. I haven't seen a lot of promotion of this album, which is shocking to me.
I think the reason for that, I haven't seen it either, and I think the reason for that is because, Kanye's not hitting algorithms for reasons, from past things that he said, antics that he's done. But I think
So would you say that you think he's being blackballed?
I would say so. Like what is it when you're like on Instagram, you go in the search bar, you can't necessarily find
shadow banned.
Shadow banned. I feel like he's been shadow banned to an extent too.
I agree too.
And I can't say he hasn't deserved some of it at least. I feel like he's deserved it. Like,
he's worked hard to get there.
Yeah, he
for sure.
Almost purposefully. Bro.
He's worked hard to try to get
and for reasons only he knows. I don't know why he would do this, but
I'm not sure either, because he's definitely gone out of his way to say outlandish stuff for attention, and I think he's gotten the attention that he wanted, but I don't think it's worked in his favor.
I don't think so, and I was gonna say this too before we moved on and moved to another aspect of it. I think he's the worst part of this album. There's certain moments.
Did you say Kanye West is the worst part of Kanye West's album?
And imagine that, bro. And like when it comes to production, I'm sure he had a hand in it.
I would say vocally, yes.
Vocally, for sure. As a producer,
I can't, because the production on here is crazy.
It's crazy, but it's always crazy. Like
I don't think Kanye could produce bad
if he even tried. I think that's the one thing he just absolutely can't do.
Because even when I listen to a song like Fried, it sounds like he used, I'm not sure, it sounds like the same sample used on Carnival.
Yeah, it does.
And the way that the way that he was able to flip that same sample and make an entirely different sound, it's just amazing. So but vocally, I could not, and lyrically, I could not agree with you more. There are just some wasted moments, like, on this album.
You almost have to filter him out of his own song. Like, that's the craziest part. Like, you almost have to filter him out from, like, the magic and beauty of some of these songs, how they're composed, how they come together, how Ty Dolla $ign, like, puts his mastery on top of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of just like, and I felt like this on the first Vultures. Like, I like the first Vultures, I think, better than this project. For that reason.
I think he did the same lazy thing on that too with some of his lyrics. I don't know. I think that I think that more of Vultures 1 is solid.
Right.
There's more solid songs on there, but I think the songs that I really like on this one, I like more than the songs on Vultures. So I think this one, if I had to take if I had to take my favorite songs from both Vulture projects, I think I like more of my favorites will be on this one.
Yeah.
I think there's more songs on this that I'm going to revisit than the ones on the first Vultures. Okay. I really don't revisit much of anything on the first Vultures.
Do you think there's
than
monster song like a Carnival on here? Do you think Promotion kind of fits that bill?
I think Promotion could be it. I think Fried could be it. Fried is going to be in the movie. There's no way. It sounds big. A lot of the songs on this album sound big. They sound big and grand. Like, I can already envision one of my random career goals at some point is to score a movie. And that's just a random career goal of mine. Yeah. And when I hear this, like when I hear Vultures too, a lot of this I can already envision it in movies, in movie trailers, and like because that's how it sounds. It sounds very cinematic.
It does. It sounds like I can, because that's the one thing I always appreciate about Kanye West music. Like even in Yeezus, which isn't among my, it's like one of my least favorite Kanye albums, but at least I can envision it in like a concert or like with him performing on stage and just the added imagery that comes with it. Like I can envision it kind of being a different experience, and I can say the same thing probably with this album. If I heard it play out in like Ty Dolla $ign Kanye West like event or concert or something along those lines, I could see it kind of being this mountainous or seismic moment. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. And that brings me to the next point that I wanted to make. When we're talking about a song like River, it made me come up with this topic that I really want us to dive into a little bit. We've seen rappers throughout time jump in and out of gospel messaging, or you can even say Christian messaging, where they're talking about God and they're talking about religion even to a certain degree, and then they switch over into just complete debauchery, if you will, for lack of better terms, within the same album, but even on Kanye has even done it within the same song. Like even on River, he does it where it switches over from talking, from Young Thug's verse and his verse that are talking about some other things, and then he kind of transitions it with a buffer of talking about kind of forgive me for my sins, and then it kind of goes into a more gospel sound of a song. And he's done this in the past. What are your thoughts about that, about artists who do that?
I think, so it's a little bit challenging for me because I understand, because that type of art form is obviously of expression. If you're tethered to a certain religion and you want to showcase that, I'm for that. I'm always in support of it. Where I kind of draw the line for me, certain messaging from certain artists seems disingenuous when you can shift within the same song about going, feeling this way, about expressing these things, and then talking about BBLs and all this kind of contradictory stuff. Like it seems like it's a little bit disingenuous, inauthentic, if you will. But that's also the imperfections of man, right? So that's also an element that I have to think about because, while you can have a Lecrae who is a Christian rapper, he also just makes great music. And even in the projects that you listen to, there's consistency. There's thematic themes that kind of tether one together kind of in unison. But when you hear certain songs from certain artists, I get a sense that you're just kind of throwing all these ideas together. And I don't like that as a consumer. You know what I'm saying? I
would have to agree. So I share a lot of the same sentiments. I think that it is the duality of man to a certain degree. Like there are you can be connected to God and believe in God, and at the same time, you have sinful thoughts that you want to express within your music. So I don't necessarily think that it has to be one or the other, but I do have to say, I do think that people use and abuse religion within music, and I think what Kanye has done is very unique because we're watching somebody who pretty much leaned fully into I'm a Christian and gospel music and went on a whole tour with a choir. And then I think when he turns around and then does an album and songs that are literally the polar opposite, I definitely can understand why some people would be offended by it. So I definitely would say that I see both sides of it. I think that it's been done tastefully by certain artists, and I think other artists did not. Like even on River, I think River is done tastefully because I think it talks about a lot of crazy stuff, but then I think he transitions it by saying, God, I know all this crazy stuff is going on. Can you save us? So I that makes sense to me as a listener, but I definitely would say that, I think DMX did it tastefully. DMX would have songs about murder on an album and then have a prayer interlude, you know what I mean, on some of his bigger albums. So I think it's been done historically through the years, and even Kanye's been doing this since Jesus Walks, which was a big risk to put out Jesus Walks as your first single was a big risk. For sure. So it's not like this is something new, but I definitely thought it was an interesting conversation to be had because we see these themes a lot, and Chance the Rapper does it as well, where he has he'll do more gospel leaning music and then turn around and do another song that has complete separate messaging that kind of contradicts what he's saying on certain songs. So yeah, definitely thought it was an interesting conversation to be
For
had.
sure. And I agree with you in the fact that I have no issue showing both sides. I think that's important. There's a valuable message in that. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And the ultimate message being that we're imperfect, we're human. There's only one that is perfect. So
absolutely, it all goes back to us being imperfect and flawed,
right,
as individuals. And I think there's nothing wrong with being able to communicate that via song. And that's something that even in the hip hop course I teach here, I teach about hip hop and religion and how the role that Kirk Franklin really played in opening up that door of hip hop sonics with gospel messaging. And kind of pulled those two together. So yeah, it's definitely something that we're I'm sure going to see a lot more of. But this one is one of the first times I've kind of seen it in one song.
right.
That's what kind of threw me off, because it was like Young Thug just rapping whatever, and then it ended with gospel, and I was just like, what is happening here? But yeah. So well, overall, we haven't been doing like a ranking system. But I kind of want to hear what the ranking system on this.
If it's
1 out of 10, what is this?
Obviously, scale from 1 to 10, I'm giving this a solid. I'll probably give it a 5.
Ooh.
I'll give it a 5. And my scale, it may be a little harsher to comparison to most. But I think for me, there's a lot of inconsistencies. At times I'm looking or listening to this album thinking it's a complete mess. It's unfinished in a lot of ways. And while the highlights are some of the features, one half of this project, again, is kind of like the sinker. You know what I'm saying? So I would probably give it a 5.
Okay.
Depending on the day, I may even give it a 4.
Ooh, oh man, you a tough critic. I thought I was rough on music, man. You might have me beat. I'm gonna give it a 6. And the reason why I give it a 6 is, as a professor, I look at it by percentages. So 60% would be a D. A D minus, really.
Yeah.
And the reason why I would give it that is because I think that I love the production on it. There are even other moments on here that aren't like my favorite songs, but I think they work. Like I even like the song that he put with his kids on there. Like I think it's cute. It's a cute. I'm not saying it's a fire song, but it's cute. It was a cute little moment on the album. I saw what he was trying to do, and am I gonna? I think that because of the fact that there are some songs I plan on going back to and that I really enjoyed, I'm gonna go 6. I'll go 6. So if we balance stars, a 4 and a 6, it'd be a 5. It'd be a 5 out of 10. So. There's another song that came out that I want to discuss.
Yes, let's talk about it.
There is, this came out a couple weeks ago, actually, and we forgot to talk about it last episode.
Yeah.
But I wanted to get back to it on this one. Tory Lanez.
Yeah.
Tory Lanez is dropping music again.
Yeah.
From prison. And one of his songs that he dropped is one called Wish I Never Met You.
Yes.
Thoughts?
I'm not gonna lie.
You like, I'm putting the pressure on you this go round. Yeah.
I don't support none of the other stuff, but when it comes to music, I don't think that's ever been a conversation. Tory has always, bro, made great music, from the first Chicks tapes to this prison tape. He makes great music. He could do this in his sleep. You know what I'm saying? He could do it from a prison cell. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm gonna back you on this one because I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
This song is hard.
It's hard.
It's fire. I'm not playing it. I was like, first of all, I don't know what type of production. I don't know if there is no way this can be from a phone.
This can't be.
Because the quality is so high that maybe they're using some AI type technology to change the voice, but I'm not gonna lie, this is probably one of the best R&B-ish type of songs that I've heard this year. And that's saying a lot. For this to be one of the best breakup type songs that I've heard this year, and if he recorded it from jail, yeah,
it's pretty special.
I cannot like I said, this has nothing to do. Disclaimer for the podcast: this is a music show.
Yeah, it is a music
so we're
show.
reviewing music. This is not a gossip show.
Yep.
We might talk about some culture things, but this is not. So we're not going to talk about just judging this off music.
Yeah.
I have to say it's amazing.
And I've always liked when he went into his Caribbean, that kind of dancehall-esque bounce too.
Absolutely.
I've always loved that version of his music, and so for him to dive into this the way he did on kind of a breakup track. It just reminds me of the past music he made. I even went back into his discography a little bit just to get a refresher, you know what I'm saying, and seeing what type of music he's made in the past, few years, 4 or 5 years, bro. So like one thing people can't say is he doesn't make good music.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I don't think they can say that at all. So yeah, I have to say that this with this being recorded from jail. Actually, if you take that out,
Yeah.
even if you didn't account for the fact that he recorded it in jail, still an amazing song. So I have to say that I feel weird now promoting it, but shout out, I'm gonna listen to it. So you know. What I mean? It's a good song. But on another note, that brings me to a different discussion. Is there have been rappers in the past who've recorded music from jail?
Yeah.
Were there any that you actually liked?
Ooh. Not many, bro.
Because usually the quality is terrible.
It's usually pretty bad. Like, I'm trying to think who put in a verse from like the phone that you mentioned, like.
On the Confessions remix, it's actually on Usher's Confession album. Shine actually has a verse on there from jail, and kind of talking about basically confessing for the crime that he committed. On the song. Has absolutely nothing to do with the song.
Yeah.
But and it sounds like it was recorded on the phone. Very 100%. Low quality. So
it's really bad.
But that was one component. I know Lil Wayne recorded some stuff when he was locked up.
He did.
But yeah, usually the quality is always shaky from artists who've done it. This is the first time I've heard it where I wouldn't have known it was recorded in a set.
I can say the only other time that I've listened to somebody recording something from jail, and then it get blasted out, you know what I mean, or released, and it sounded like almost like they were in a legit studio, was Max B. He did a song with DJ Drama. I think it's called Lemonade. But bro, like if you want to talk about summertime jams, like those type of songs, like that's one of them. I was a big Max B fan, like in the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Really? So I never really listened to Max B.
Bro, Max B has some like it's an acquired taste. Don't get me wrong, bro. Like I don't think you'll like it, but like the right person, like because is
it kind of like French Montana ish?
No, well he was connected with
I know that was like connected.
So I feel like it was early French.
Okay.
Like, I think early French was influenced by him. But
then I probably
you see how A$AP Ma was kind of influenced by him. You see how other rappers that take the liberties to kind of sing on the hook, like the way he was doing the Wave God, bro. Like the whole, like the Harlem, you know what I'm saying? Total, like swag and everything else. Like you can feel it from certain artists after listening to him. He's the only person I heard on a song called Lemonade where I was like, bro, it almost sounds like that Free Max B slogan isn't needed anymore. Like he must be in the studio, but obviously he's behind bars.
Wow. Okay. So I have to go listen. I have to check that one out. It's called Lemonade.
Lemonade, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have to check that out.
So he got some heat. For
yeah.
Sure.
Okay. I check his out. But yeah, man. I had to say, I just there's no way I would have known. So like whoever, shout out to his producer.
Shout out to the
or his sound engineer. I really would say the engineer because whoever mixed this,
whoever cooked up the beat and offered it to him too. I don't know if he had it in the stash or what it was, but it sounds like the fact that he has little resources. Right. These artists have far more resources. He's making better music than them, bro.
So he should have some people really feeling bad about themselves because the fact that he's making better music than some of y'all who are out here in the free world.
Got a studio in your home, and you know what I'm saying?
Studio in your home.
Crazy.
He making better R&B songs than y'all with no women around.
Like no inspiration, bro.
There
that
is.
Says a lot.
Yeah. So everybody step it up. I want to hear some better R&B.
Get back into a group or something.
Yeah. Get back. That should be the name of the pod. Get back into a group.
Right.
Or don't be Michelle. That's crazy. That's a crazy title for the pod.
Oh my God.
No, man, but I definitely think that this isn't an R&B pod, but at the same time, we need some better R&B music because his stood out a lot. Yeah. So I think that's it, man. I think we've hit all the music topics that we have for today.
My man, this is another good episode, bro.
Bro, episode 5, bro.
We've been on fire. If you haven't tuned in on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please subscribe, like, share, comment, do all those other things for engagement purposes, man. We're trying to like spread the word. We're trying to get out there more. This is a quality podcast with quality people.
Oh, absolutely.
From a professor to a journalist that, like our focus is hip hop culture, music, and everything else along with other things. Bro, we're cooking up some good.
This has never been done.
Yeah, never.
And I just want to be very clear. There has never been a hip hop centered podcast with a professor and a journalist with our I don't want to brag, but our credentials and our designated areas.
Yeah.
Speaking about hip hop this in depth. So man, I definitely think this is something different. So man, subscribe, follow Rapping Reason on Instagram, Rapping Reason pretty much on everything, Rapping Reason on YouTube. Make sure y'all are following the movement, man, and make sure y'all comment, man, engage with us.
Yes.
On there, whether you agree, disagree with some of our takes. I know we have some different ones.
That's fine.
It's fine.
I don't mind.
No, don't mind at all. So man, another episode episode 5, and we will see y'all on the next one. Salute.
Salute.